for him as creator and sustainer and the source and the basis of not only all actuality, but of meaning and intelligibility. So then the question is, when you speak forth propositions to me, I want to know fundamentally what instantiates that. And you have nothing to appeal to, do you?
By instantiate, you mean what holds that to be true?
What imposes and secures it metaphysically? The answer is you have nothing to appeal to.
As far as I know, nothing.
Then you don't know anything.
And that's not true. That doesn't necessarily follow.
Okay, no, it does follow, because knowledge would depend on it would be, why am I hearing background noise?
Sorry, I'm walking. I told you I was going to go get a vaccine. So,
okay.
If you'd like, I can mute myself while you're talking.
Does knowledge require that something be fundamentally unchanging that imposes regularity?
No.
Yes, it does. See, you're just demonstrating to me you're completely ignorant on this subject.
No, I'm not.
You can't have knowledge if there is nothing fundamental securing regularity. I'm not going to keep on doing this with the wind blowing into the microphone.
I'm sorry.
You're totally clueless. You don't know what you're talking about. Another clueless atheist, folks. Okay?
I'm not clueless.
You are
I'm not.
Because
I will never say that we know anything.
Hold on a second. No, you just did. Do you know that?
No.
Do you know that?
Okay, listen. Hold on.
Do you know that you're walking to get a vaccine right now?
Yeah, because I'm doing. Yeah.
But you just told me you can never say that you know anything.
To absolute certainty? Yes.
You know what? We're done. Get out of here. We're done. Another numbnuts atheist, folks. Totally numbnuts. Okay?
You follow along the same thing.
Listen, dude. Listen. You are totally clueless in this conversation. You are way in over your head. You just simply, all you have is that you're argumentative. You have nothing to stand on. Listen.
Neither do you.
Okay, then wait a minute. I thought you said you didn't know anything.
I'm not saying I know everything.
All right, we're done. You're an idiot. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to end this right now. When you're so ignorant in a conversation that you're pathologically stupid, where you simply do not know what you're talking about, you keep on contradicting yourself, right?
He concedes that all of his assertions are baseless, and then he makes another assertion. Neither do you.
And then I said, what is it that grounds the uniformity of nature? And he says induction. He doesn't. He's completely clueless. He's just another one of these belligerent, bellicose atheists out there who they just go wah 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 wah, and they think because their mouth is moving, therefore they're saying something is substantive. Okay, induction does not ontologically ground the uniformity of nature. I explained it to him, and he repeated it again. So there's no point. Listen, I'm not being mean here. The guy may not be stupid in his personal life, but when it comes to this topic, he's completely ignorant, and there's no point in talking with him any further.
Did you hear that wind outside? His arguments are gone with it.
Yeah, gone with the wind. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Gone with. Gone with the wind.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
What was that? What? I'm sorry, Mr. Clark Gable, what did you say?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Where do they grow these people? Don't you love these people who come in these topics and they put their ignorance on full display? When you're patient with them, you're patient with them, you're patient with them, they're patient with them, and they're still purposely argumentative. Wow. All right. I want to get something to drink. I'll be back in about 5 minutes, and then we're going to resume with the near comatose J.L. Warren video. Okay. So feel free to chat it up until I resume. Should be back in like 5 minutes.
You guys are reviewing a video about J.L. Warren?
Does anyone know if Darth ever reviewed Destiny? The Destiny he made? The debate he had with him?
I don't think so. We should definitely go through that. Jeez.
Does anyone know how to change your tags?
What tags?
The ones in your username that says what you are, you know, that kind of stuff.
You mean the roles?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, you can go to the role channel and select roles. And if you have a role you want to get rid of, you select it again, and then it should disappear.
Alright, cool.
And all the other roles are, I think, given to you automatically by a bot that some admin programmed, I think. Like Keyboard Warrior, I think, is one of them. Yeah.
Alrighty, I'm back, everyone.
Have you reviewed your video of Destiny?
I don't think he's really worthy of even evaluating him. There is a debate I had with him where he got smoked. You can listen to that. He made a fool of himself. All right, let's continue. Here we go.
Still doesn't get us logically to a God. Here it is merely another hypothesis. From a theological perspective, it wholly depends upon how God version of a biblical God or omni-entity can be soundly argued as logically contradictory. We can eliminate each attribute until the God is reduced to something that meets the quality of non-existence. And given the irrational, ignorant, inconsistent, and irreconcilable nature of the Bible, which is Christianity's claim, there once again solidifies the Christian God as an unfalsifiable hypothesis. Unfortunately, my opponent misses the mark by forgetting.
Guess what? He's now raised the unfalsifiability criterion, which cuts his own head off. Okay? If all beliefs, including that which is metaphysically primary, must be in principle unfalsifiable, then he will not be able to hold that there is something fundamental, ultimate, and absolute that is securing any notions of regularity that he believes. Therefore, he will end up believing in an unfalsifiable, in principle, an unfalsifiable claim, therefore violating his own criterion of belief. And he just screwed himself.
That a valid argument is not necessarily sound and that there exists no deductively sound argument that gets to a God. In fact, no argument can get to a God without first presupposing a God, thus resulting in circular reasoning.
He's right there. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. That's simple. But the point is, if he dismisses that on the grounds of circularity, then he destroys all logical reasoning and argumentation. He slays himself.
Reasoning, which is fallacious, even if you qualify it as virtuous. Physics does not prove any gods. In fact, it does the opposite by explaining with evidence why gods are unnecessary.
Okay. He said physics prove that God is unnecessary, but didn't he say that we can never know what is ultimate? You guys remember that?
Was it in this video?
Oh, yeah, he said it earlier in the video.
Okay. I haven't seen that at the start yet.
He's a complete idiot.
And metaphysics is simply too reductive for the empirical complexity of our reality, which is probably why God hides there. My worldview is that of naturalism, that everything has an explanation. Brute facts, as my opponent will assert God is, do not exist. Only propositions we cannot determine a truth or false value to. And as a doxastic and voluntarist, I have simply not been convinced of the existence of such a being, given the dearth of evidence to support the claim and the plethora of evidence and logical argumentation to the contrary. My worldview does not comport with assertions that violate the descriptive laws of reality, such as physics and logic, and my worldview does not propose truth claims about what I could not possibly know just because it makes me feel good or alleviates me of my personal responsibilities for my actions.
I sense some Dunning-Krugerism in his voice. He seems to like to use a lot of heavy terminology and esoteric language, make it sound like he's so intelligent. And I'm not saying he's dumb, but that doesn't mean you have a rational position or argument. Just because you can use words like doxastic and things like this.
He is dumb. No, he is dumb. He's reading from material that he's borrowed from others. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He doesn't even realize that he's contradicting himself. Okay? Now, he said that physics can explain everything. Okay? Well, then that means that physics then is fundamental and ultimate. But is that falsifiable in principle? Well, the only way that that could be falsifiable in principle is that you would have to accept that God exists. Right? But he says there's no reason to believe that God exists. Therefore, his principle of physics explains everything is unfalsifiable in principle. You see how he shot himself in the head? He's an idiot.
In closing, theists have not yet met the burden of proof that they assume when they make a positive claim of a God, and until they do, I and all other atheists are rationally justified in holding our atheist position, especially in regards to the Christian God. Our purpose and our world are our own to determine and safeguard, and we will continue to work towards the well-being of all humanity for the sake of our own lives and our species. Because when we bridge the divides between us, that dogmatic thinking creates, there is nothing we can't accomplish together. No God necessary. Thank you.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? There is nothing that we all cannot accomplish together. Now, isn't that an appeal to magic?
Appeal to what?
There is nothing that we all can't accomplish together. Right? So isn't that an appeal to magic?
Yeah, so if we all work together, we can accomplish even contradictory things.
If we all work together, you could make a machine that, approaches the speed of light or surpasses the speed of light, right?
Sure, I see.
There is nothing that we can't accomplish. Doesn't that sound like a claim of omnipotence through collective human activity?
Yes.
Collective human activity can achieve omnipotence. That's what he just said. There's nothing that we cannot achieve. Unless, of course,
he thinks
he's just
humanity is God.
I mean, do you see how deluded this guy is? He's not only stupid, he's deluded.
All right. We are into the question and answer portion. Let me get this set up. So, Philip, would you like to ask or answer the first question? It helps if I unmute you. My mistake. There we are. One more time. Philip, would you like to ask or answer the first question?
Yeah, I'll ask the first question.
All right. So Philip will ask, and JL, you have 3 minutes once he is finished asking his question to respond.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a very straightforward question. In your worldview, do you believe in gravity? Well, from your opener, you were invoking a secular Big Bang, if I remember. And in order to get to the expansion, you need gravity. Well, the very first movement of tangible energy and matter, you need gravity.
Well, let's keep our questions to questions, not assertive statements.
So is gravity in your worldview?
Yes.
Okay, and is gravity material or immaterial?
Well, hang on a second. Let's keep it one question at a time. So, if that is
I need to elaborate. I need to ask. You need to clarify what. Yeah.
Well, no. You asked me if gravity is my worldview. Gravity is in my worldview. Gravity is a demonstrable and testable and emergent property, like I explained in my intro, and we can make predictions with it.
Yes, if you extrapolate that belief back to your belief of a Big Bang, you have an invisible force interacting with all tangible energy and matter today, which is said to be 10 to the power of 50 tons. So for an invisible force to have that ability requires an omnipotence with a consciousness.
Well, is this your second question?
Yes, this is going to have to go into your rebuttal.
But yeah, I'm getting straight. I'm about to conclude here. Is that the gravity, in order to get the expansion, the gravity requires an omnipotence for an invisible force to interact with all tangible energy and matter today, which is said to be 10 to the power of 50 in tons, and with a consciousness to choose to move on its own to interact with all tangible energy and matter. So gravity is just a label for an immaterial God.
All right. So JL, you have 1 minute to rebut. Starting now.
No, that's incorrect. Unfortunately, while we do not understand every single, all of the minutia of the mechanism of gravity, we do have a very good idea as to, what it is. Obviously, we can detect the force itself, and we can test it, we can demonstrate it, and we can make predictions with it. We have a predictive model. But saying that there is some ethereal force or some ethereal entity behind it, that's just a hypothesis, and it's not supported by evidence.
All right.
So what he just said is there is no rhyme or reason why gravity is or continues. Everybody pick that up?
It'd be more accurate to say he doesn't know what that rhyme or reason.
He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's just spewing out adolescent atheist talking points.
Well, you just said that gravity just is. There's no force behind it.
It just is. Okay, if it just is, then what reason do you have to expect that it will continue? Okay. Yeah,
Is he begging the question when he says it? It's an emergent property.
Of course he is. If it's an emergent property, then it cannot account for itself. Everybody see what a numbskull this guy is? If it emerges, what institutes and secures it?
Well, in gravity's case, I believe that would be matter.
Then the point is matter and energy itself eternal? Is it absolute?
It's a fantastic question.
He's an idiot. He's a complete idiot. These are just atheist talking points. Okay? If I wasn't eating right now, I'd give even more commentary, than I am. Yeah, he's just an idiot. His opponent doesn't really know how to respond properly, but we'll go on.
That's the only alternative.
Sorry. Again, we are in a question and answer, so we're going to be very strict. JL, you will ask your first question, and Philip, you have 3 minutes once he has finished asking his question.
Hang on, is this a debate or just question and answers?
This is a debate.
Well, he made an assertion. I have to address his assertion.
Again, in this portion of the debate, we'll get to the a little bit more of unstructured back and forth in a minute. As of right now, we are in the question and answer section. So, you have the format is you have 3 minutes to answer the question, and then your opponent will have a minute and a half to redirect, and then you will to rebut, and then you will have a minute to redirect. So he's going to ask you a question. As soon as he's finished, you have 3 minutes to answer, and then he will rebut your answer, and then you can redirect after he has finished.
Yeah. All right. So Philip, how can you tell the difference between an undetectable, unobservable natural process and a God?
By the way, this is an idiot. When I confronted him several times, he refused to interact with me. Okay? This is a guy who is publicly engaged in slander and defamation against myself. And when I asked him to support it, he goes, "Oh, journalistic integrity. I can't reveal my sources." Okay? This is what a clown this guy is. Okay?
So he's a journalist?
He says he says journalistic. This is what a man-child this guy is. Okay, this is the same guy with the bearded guy on top. One or the other of them said that William Lane Craig is the foremost presuppositional apologist in the world today, and Darth gets all his presuppositionalism from him. Okay, now I forget who said it. Was either J.L. Warren or the guy with the T on his baseball cap, but then I think it was J.L. Warren who went exactly and agreed. Okay, these guys are just morons.
Well, you have two options. Is what we see today is the material / tangible energy and matter. So what we see today is the movement of the material. In order to get the very first movement, requires an immaterial force. Unless you allude to pantheism, that all tangible energy and matter consists of life, for it to be moving internally, not contingent on an outside particular. So those are the only two options. It's that it's either material or immaterial, and this comports with the law of exclude middle and the law of polarity. I yield.
All right, JL, you have a minute and a half starting now.
Well, I don't think I'll need a minute and a half, but well, Philip, you just made an assertion. You restated your hypothesis, but you didn't answer my question. So I'll rephrase it a little bit just to throw it back. By what methodology can you tell the difference between an undetectable, unobservable natural process and a god?
Just using deductive reasoning in conjunction with the laws of logic and the laws of physics. Is that you can't see the invisible, but we can prove that the invisible created the visible. I yield.
Let me just jump in here. Yeah, this guy is clueless as well. We can only appeal to God by virtue of God revealing himself. So either it is the case in a world where God creates this world, he either constructs the world in such a way that it reveals himself, or he does not. The only way we could know God and posit God is if God reveals himself. Okay?
Sound of it sounds like he's going for the equine argument.
Yeah. So what he's saying is that this is a bogus argument that he's making. If we do not appeal to some aspect, individually or collectively, of God's self-disclosure of himself, then it is meaningless then to appeal to God. Just as meaningless as it would for an atheist to appeal to any other state of affairs as well.
All right, so Philip, this would be your second question. JL, you have 3 minutes when he is finished asking.
Okay, my question is, do you believe tangible energy and matter is eternal, or did it have a beginning?
I think I need a clarification. There's no such thing as tangible energy matter.
Just tangible matter. Tangible meaning you could see it.
Well, energy is infinite. It's better to.
Energy is infinite. Did everybody hear that?
Yes, it did.
Now, by what means could he know that? Now, is he saying that energy is eternal? Okay, maybe
That's
he's
probably
using
what he means by that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, but to say that it's infinite, yeah, he's got to be referring to that it is eternal without beginning. But
Infinite
how could he? But wait a minute. He says there's no omni-God. He said because there can't be anything omniscient because of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle in his short video. So how could he know that anything is eternal? He might want to claim that something is eternal, but how would he know it? Everybody see the problem here? This guy is so stupid.
Not only that, it's if we use the usual definition of infinite, something with a starting point that has no end point, at least that's the mathematic definition, that means that energy had to come from somewhere anyway, so he still hasn't gained anything.
No, what he doesn't understand. See, he probably has this notion that energy eventually begat, particulars resulting in matter. Okay, but I mean, there would be no way for him to establish that. Okay, by blind faith, he's saying that energy is what is eternal and what is absolute and fundamental. How could he establish that? Don't you remember earlier? You probably weren't here for this, but early on, he said an appeal to what is ultimate. That's my word, not his. Was not known and is unknowable. But now he's telling us that energy is eternal.
Well, you could have gone for the kill right at that point when he says that there's no knowable origin of facts.
Well, he already did a short video, said he had a kill shot on Darth Dawkins, that because Darth Dawkins is a young Earth creationist and the Bible teaches a flat Earth according to him, therefore Darth Dawkins is finished. That was his short. Okay, I'm not.
He said you were a flat earther?
No, he said because I'm a young Earth creationist, and the Bible teaches, according to him, he says the Bible affirms in Isaiah and Acts, and where else did he say? I'm trying to remember. Acts, Isaiah, and somewhere else. Judges. He says it teaches the Earth is flat, and so therefore he delivered a kill shot on Darth Dawkins. We're not making this up. You weren't here when we reviewed the video. This is how dumb this guy is.
Hey,
this
Darth.
guy is really. Yeah, go ahead.
Why did you mute Libby? I wasn't in when you did that. I was just wondering.
Because I gave him plenty of time, and he just degenerated into being an argumentative teenager. Okay, and I wasn't going to put up with it anymore. He's totally clueless. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He wasn't understanding things that I was unpacking and explaining to him. I'll unmute him now, but
more importantly,
yeah.
he had a lot of background noise, and it was just unbearable to listen to.
Yeah, that too. But he's totally clueless. He was when I asked him how he ontologically grounded anything, he made an appeal to epistemology. Epistemology may ground how you come to know it, but it doesn't ground things ontologically, which he was completely confused and in left field about. Yeah. All right, let's continue.
To use the term infinite and not eternal, because eternal has magical underpinnings. So energy. I think I need to.
Okay, wait a minute. Eternal has magical See, this is what a numbskull this guy is. He has the reasoning capacity of a 14-year-old at the lunch table at lunchtime in the cafeteria. Eternal it references magic. Eternal means it just simply is without beginning, as opposed to temporal, where things begin to exist. Right? So if he's dismissive, if he's completely dismissive that something is eternal, then that means that everything must be temporal. So that means that everything then is of a secondary state, of a second order, and there would be nothing of a primary order from which second order things to arise from. Right? So if everything is temporal succession, but there's nothing of a primary substance that would be without beginning that it is derived from, you couldn't have second order states of affairs. This is what I mean. This guy is a moron.
Clarification. There's no such thing as tangible energy matter.
Just tangible matter. Tangible meaning you could see it.
Well, energy is infinite. It's better to use the term infinite and not eternal, because eternal has magical underpinnings. So
eternal has magical underpinnings.
Yeah, I mean,
eternal just simply means it does not begin to exist.
This guy's played too many Dungeons and Dragons, and he's played the elf character too much.
Wait, so he didn't mean energy is eternal. He literally meant it.
Well, we're correct about that. So he's vastly more stupid than we thought.
So energy is infinite, and matter is a state of energy.
No, you're getting
matter is a state of energy. Matter is infinite. So he doesn't mean that it's eternal. So what does he mean by infinite then? Does he mean without beginning?
I think that's why he's using the word infinite and not eternal, because that implies
okay.
beginning, but there's no ending.
No, but then infinite is simply a synonym for eternal.
I think he's trying to avoid the it came from nowhere.
The word eternal. No. Eternal does not mean it came from nowhere. Eternal doesn't mean that it comes from anywhere. It simply means it simply necessarily exists without beginning. It simply exists.
Yeah, the without beginning part is the part he's trying to avoid.
He's an idiot. If it's infinite, means it's without being. Look, he's in over his head because he's getting much of his material from some other source. He's not smart enough to write some of this stuff. Okay, and he's flatly contradicting himself. So when he says infinite, does he mean an infinite regress of causal succession of energy? That energy is just churning forever?
I think that's probably what he means.
But here's the problem. Then energy is just simply going through an infinite chronology of change. But the energy itself is always there. It's without beginning. It's just that there's a chronology of energy change states. The energy is fluctuating, right? But the energy itself would be without beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy is. It's painful to listen to.
Oh wait, yeah, I see what you're saying. Jeez.
It's very painful. It's very painful for this Dunning-Kruger graduate to listen to him. He's just
Philip again. This is, you've asked the question, allow him to answer. He has 3 minutes to answer. You'll have a minute to rebut.
So energy is infinite. I choose not to use the term eternal because it opens doors to magical thinking, and it has baggage that comes along with it. I prefer the mathematical quantification of infinite. So energy.
What the hell does that mean?
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
He is a babbling fool.
He's talking about the conservation of energy. First law of thermodynamics.
Yeah, the problem with that is this, okay? Is then he would still believe that something was something would have to exist without beginning in order for there to be secondary or temporal states. Right? But that's what we call, if something exists without beginning, okay, that's what we call eternal. Right?
Sure.
Painful.
Energy is infinite. Energy, as follows from the first law of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, because energy exists now, and wherever energy exists, also
let me play that back
to magical thinking, and it has baggage that comes along with it. I prefer the mathematical quantification of infinite. So.
David Hilbert, one of the great mathematicians of the 20th century, wrote a paper called On Infinity, or On Infinities. I can't remember which is the correct title. In the paper, when I perused through it, he said, infinity is nowhere to be found. Okay? Infinity is nowhere to be found. The only way you'll find infinity is it functions as a concept within mathematics and set theory.
Yeah, it's not observable. You could never observe infinity.
No. So the question is, then how does he know that there's this infinite regress into the past? Okay. How does he know this?
Well, I think that's why he's not using the word eternal, and he's using the word infinite, since that's a forward moving, never going away.
He doesn't understand the dilemma that he's in. Okay, he believes that there's an infinite cycling of energy, right? God, oh my God, he's so stupid. This is painful to listen to.
Energy is DM him right now and tell him this.
He's a moron.
As follows from the first law of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, because energy exists now, and energy.
The first law of thermodynamics simply is the position that we humans do not know of any natural or man-made ways by which matter and energy can be created or destroyed. It does not establish the metaphysical principle that energy itself is without beginning. It's just that we don't know a way of which to institute or create matter and energy or to destroy it. This is what an imbecile he is. See, this is typically what a lot of atheists do. They will appeal to the law of the first law of thermodynamics, trying to establish that there is this eternal energy.
And wherever energy exists, also time does. So there's no reason to believe, or there's nothing to imply that
where energy exists, time does also. So time is the indefinite progress of events, according to the dictionary. Time is
saying that because of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle with respect to time, because delta energy times delta time is greater than or equal to Planck's constant, Planck's constant over.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an idiot. Okay.
Not to be created or destroyed, because energy exists now, and wherever energy exists, also time does. So there's
so then wherever energy exists, time does. So then he believes in an infinite regress of churning energy. How does he know that's true? Where did he get that from? Did he go to a clairvoyant? Okay. Did he take LSD and come to this conclusion?
No, he's making statements based on proximal reality that science has essentially investigated.
He's making statements on proximate reality. What the hell does that mean?
Proximal, as in the stuff that's close to us. It's not an infinite. He's not stating like universal reality.
No, how does he ground these grandiose statements? How? Based on where did he get that from?
Observation, or in his case,
wait a minute. Are you just trolling, or are you serious?
Well, that's how the first law of thermodynamics was created.
You're not. See, you're not understanding this issue at all. Okay. If he says where energy is, he instead of saying the word eternal, he's saying infinite as a synonym for eternal, because he wants to avoid any theological implications. But he doesn't say that. He says magical implications. So what he believes is there's this infinite regress of energy just churning around. Okay, energy just changing. Time is the indefinite progress of events. So that there's an infinite chronology of events within the realm of energy. Okay, that's his position. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, if you appeal to observation, okay, that's a major concrete faceplant on the sidewalk. Okay? It's because he hasn't been around to have an infinite observations.
Never mind the past. He doesn't even have universal observations right now.
He doesn't have universal observations of anything because he's not omniscient.
Yeah, so he's not making, as I said, these aren't universal claims.
Where is he pulling this from?
Well, that particular thing once again comes from the first law of thermodynamics.
No, you're not understanding.
A law is a universal.
Yeah, this is typical. Listen carefully. Are you a teenager?
Oh God, no.
Okay, how old are you?
Oh, he just uttered God.
How old are you?
Mid-30s.
Okay, well, I'm gonna insult you here right now. You're literally reasoning like a teenager. The appeal to the first law of thermodynamics is not an absolute universal statement. It simply means matter and energy from our perspective.
Oh no, I agree with you.
We cannot create energy, nor do we know of a way that it comes about naturally. That is not a metaphysical universal.
Most atheists want to turn the kind of
but
observation.
You can't.
Operational science.
Listen, you can't appeal to the first law of thermodynamics and turn it into magically a universal metaphysic.
I agree with that.
Okay, so he's an imbecile when he appeals to the first law of thermodynamics to justify the infinity of existence chronologically of energy. So where did he pull this from? Where did he get it from? Now, you said he got it from observations. Has he been around observing this for an infinity?
Well, no, he's getting, the first law of thermodynamics comes from observations. He's reading that.
You're not understanding. The first law, do we have the ability to see infinitely into the past?
No.
No, that's talking about the present right now. We don't know of any way. Now, in the U.S. Patent Office, they will not accept any patents anymore for perpetual motion machines. You understand?
Sure.
Now, do you know why?
Not sure why they would have created a rule for that, but I guess it was just wasting their time.
Yeah, because it will be a waste of time to get these patents because they have accepted the second law of thermodynamics, okay, which will rule out a perpetual motion machine.
Yep.
So the second law of thermodynamics will rule out a perpetual motion machine. Okay? Now, if somebody were to come along and actually demonstrate a perpetual motion machine, okay, then this would falsify the second law of thermodynamics.
Would have some crazy implications, but definitely true.
Right. So then that means is that the second law of thermodynamics is postulated to be universally true. But science doesn't make truth declarations. Science only makes provisional conclusions that can be reformulated, corrected, and even falsified pending a further investigation of the data and future observations that would falsify any generalizations within the realm of science. So the first law and second the first and second law of thermodynamics are just universal generalizations that are not necessarily true, but are provisionally accepted as true. They're provisional.
Yeah, they're useful for us.
Right, but so that they're not a universal metaphysic, are they?
No, they're not.
So then he can't use that to justify the existence in a past chronological infinity, justifying that energy is what is fundamental and it's been in existence going back in an infinite regress. Do you see how he's a graduate of Dunning-Kruger University with honors? Okay, tap a keg of beer.
I mean, he's just a materialist. I mean,
he's worse than that. He's an idiot.
I said materialist, didn't I?
Yeah, he's an idiot.
There's no reason to believe, or there's nothing to imply that of the energy before the Big Bang. So yes, energy itself is infinite. Matter is.
Energy itself is infinite. What he means by that is without beginning. How does he know that? And by the way, how would that be falsifiable in principle? Okay, all right. How could he falsify that dictum?
Find a way to destroy energy?
No. You're not understanding, okay? It's because destroying energy in the present would not ipso facto destroy that energy has been in an infinite chronological sequencing. Okay? So the point is, he has no way to explain how he arrived at that ignorant conjecture, right? There's no way for him to establish that. It's simply a vacuous claim to avoid accepting God's disclosure of himself through creation. Okay, so that we don't need God because we have an infinite regress of energy fluctuating. Okay, so they reason no God existing. But the point is, How did he establish that? The answer is he didn't. The first law in second thermodynamics, in no sense of the imagination, supports this notion. I would expect a teenager to go, well, the first law of thermodynamics, matter cannot be either created or destroyed, and to use that generalization in present day experiences and to use that to indicate the past is the height of absurdity. This is how dumb this guy is.
State of energy after the energy has undergone change, like when it cools and allows nuclei to attract electrons and then create elements and then to create matter itself. So matter is not infinite.
It seems like he's just saying there's this impersonal force that always existed that can never be created nor destroyed, from which is the result of everything else. Well, that's the definition for God. Except he's a personal force.
Yeah,
no. Yeah, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
But energy is.
But here's the thing: remember he said that God
says he's not a religious man.
Yeah, remember how he said God was unfalsifiable? Well, what would falsify that? Anyone? Bueller?
Oh, you can't falsify that. Everybody bases
no. How would you?
Unjustified.
Let's operate under the principle of charity here. Okay, what would in principle falsify that? Okay, one gentleman here said, "Well, if you could create or destroy energy now, no, even if you could accomplish that, that would not falsify that pre-existing energy has been in an infinite regress." So what he's postulating here violates his own major directive that it must be in principle falsifiable. Right?
I don't know about that. Like, if you can destroy something, you
don't know about that. Listen to me. Did he not use the principle that something must be in principle falsifiable? He said God is unfalsifiable, so therefore God is unworthy of belief. Good. How is his postulating that matter and energy, or excuse me, energy, if you will, has been infinite, that there's a past infinite regress of events? How is that in principle falsifiable?
The only thing you could really falsify is whether energy is infinite or not.
No. How could a present observation today, let's say he wins the Nobel Prize where he brings energy into existence, or he destroys matter and energy, okay? That itself would not, in principle, falsify the infinite regress of energy. So, in principle, how would he falsify the bold claim that he's making that energy has been infinitely changing, that there's an infinite regress of past chronology or events? How would he falsify that?
Well, I can't see my screen because I'm busy doing something, but I heard someone say, there's two people talking, so maybe I misheard, but it sounded like someone said that everyone has foundational presuppositions that are unjustifiable and unfalsifiable. Did someone say that?
Yeah, that was me.
How do you support that universal?
I don't.
So then why did you assert it?
Because I believe it to be true.
On what grounds?
That would be an unjustifiable belief, buddy.
So you're just spewing out ignorant conjecture?
Because in order for that statement to be true, the Christian God could not exist.
Yeah, I'm an agnostic.
Or that's an implicit denial of the Christian God.
No, you're not. You're actually an atheist.
Well, an atheist makes knowledge claims that God doesn't exist. I simply say
no, dude. Okay, you know, before you make such ridiculous statements, you should be more well studied in this area. Okay, agnosticism was coined by T.H. Huxley. Are you familiar with that?
Nope.
Okay. T.H. Huxley in the 19th century. Let me read this to you. This is T.H. Huxley. Agnosticism is the essence of science, whether ancient or modern. It simply means that a man shall not say he knows or believes that which he has no grounds for professing to know or believe.
Sure.
What you have bought into is the stupid atheist meme that agnosticism only deals with knowing ultimate reality, whereas atheism simply deals with believing. Okay? Now, although agnosticism is very popular, it is easy to show that it is incoherent and self-refuting, right? So let me ask you this question. Do you positively believe that God is the necessary precondition of all facts that are not God?
No, I do not believe that.
Okay. So in philosophy, in modus ponens, if P, therefore Q. P, then Q. Okay? So if you believe in the independence of facts ontologically, therefore God cannot logically exist. Okay? If you believe in the independence of facts, then God cannot logically exist. And if God logically does not exist, God does not, in fact, exist. So, in the definition of God, God is defined as the precondition of all facts that are not himself. So, I ask you, do you positively believe that God is the necessary precondition of all facts that are not himself? And you said no. So since you believe it's not necessary to reference God as the necessary precondition of all facts, then you believe that facts possess actuality and intelligibility in independence of God, right?
Yeah.
Then God cannot logically coexist, and if God cannot logically coexist, then God does not exist.
You cannot
So,
coexist
in fact,
with those asserted facts that you assert.
Yeah.
In my belief
So
system, certainly, as I said, these are things I believe. I don't
So
know them to be true.
so on the problem with agnosticism is it maintains neutrality toward God, but in fact it is hostile to God. You are denying God by accepting the independence of you are denying God by virtue of holding to the independence of facts while claiming, but I didn't shoot him, officer.
Well, to be clear, I'm just holding to the possibility of the independence of facts. I don't know if they're independent.
No. Listen carefully. Do you positively believe that it is necessary to reference God as the necessary precondition of all facts that are not God?
No, I don't know or
Good. Then it automatically follows that you believe that facts exist independently of God.
Yeah, that is a belief I hold true.
Good. Then God doesn't logically coexist in your world, and if he doesn't logically coexist, then he doesn't exist in your world.
In my world, that's correct.
Good. Then you're not an agnostic, you're an atheist. Agnosticism is simply atheism in drag, pretending not to be what it actually is.
I think the difference is more that I wouldn't make the knowledge claim that I know God.
Okay, sir, here we go again. Here's the problem, okay? It doesn't matter that you claim you don't know. You believe God does not exist.
Correct.
Good, that makes you an atheist.
You can define it like that if you like, sure.
No. I'm not defining it that way, sir. Okay? Okay. Listen to this. Okay. Give me a second. Okay, this is the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, a very prestigious source for philosophy. Okay, you go, oh, you can define it that way. You see, that's your get out of jail free card. Listen to this. Atheism is typically defined in terms of theism. Theism, in turn, is best understood as a proposition, something that is either true or false. It is often, it is often defined as the belief that God exists. But here, belief means something believed. It refers to the propositional content of belief and not the attitude or psychological state of believing. That is why it makes sense to say that theism is either true or false and to argue for and against theism. If, however, atheism is defined in terms of theism, and theism is the proposition that God exists, and not merely or simply the psychological condition of believing that there is a God, then it follows that atheism is not the absence of the psychological condition of believing that God exists. The A in atheism must be understood as a negation instead of an absence, as not instead of without. Therefore, in philosophy at least, atheism should be construed as the proposition that God does not exist, or more broadly, the proposition there are no gods. This definition of atheism has the added virtue of making atheism a direct answer to one of the most important metaphysical questions in philosophy of religion, namely, is there a God? There are only two possible direct answers to the question. Yes, which is theism, and no, which is atheism. Answers like, I don't know, no one knows, I don't care, an affirmative answer has never been established, or the question is meaningless, are not direct answers.
Oh yeah, it's not a direct answer. I'll give you that. But agnosticism is simply saying I don't know.
You're still not getting this. Okay.
I understand.
Again, you're going back. Listen to me. Like a dog goes back to its vomit and says, "Wow, a hot meal." That is precisely what you were doing. This was what started this thread of the conversation, that you keep on wanting to restrict agnosticism simply to, oh, I don't know. Okay? The difference
you
between...
are denying the
let me
existence
finish.
of God.
Let me finish, okay? The distinction between knowledge and belief sometimes is important, but sometimes there's a fine line that demarcates belief from knowledge. And the difference is the degree of warrant or justification that one will want to include. Rarely do people say they believe X with no warrant whatsoever. So people will believe things with varying degrees of warrant or justification, but they will reserve the word knowledge for those belief states for which they have the most warrant or justification for. So trying to disassociate knowledge from belief, okay, at best is deception, and at worst it's outright deception. At best, it would just simply be ineptness. Okay? So the point is, agnosticism is claiming not to make a statement about ultimate reality. Would you agree with that last statement I made is true?
No, I would say it's saying that humans can't make statements about ultimate
Okay,
reality.
you're not getting this. You're a deer in the headlights. Listen carefully. Agnosticism is in fact the equivalent of saying, I make no declaration of ultimate reality. I do not know that God does exist, and I do not know that God does not exist, right?
That's part of it, yeah.
No, that's it in a nutshell.
No, there's a second part of it. There's the...
What's the second part?
I don't believe that people can know if God exists or doesn't exist.
Wow, wow, why do I do this? Why do I do this? That's a part of making a declaration about ultimate reality.
That's correct, and it could be wrong.
Whether somebody labels that declaration belief or knowledge is irrelevant, because knowledge is a subset of belief, right?
I would say that there's a lot of gradation upon both, and where one
No,
fits into the
sir.
other.
Listen, you're not addressing my question. Listen carefully. Is knowledge a subset of belief?
And that's a hard one. Yeah, I'll give you that.
No, it's not hard. Okay? Knowledge is recognized definitionally as a justified true belief.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as I just explained to you, rarely, if ever, do people invoke the word belief to include that a person has no warrant whatsoever. Is it used that way sometimes? Yes, but it's on the rarity of the spectrum.
Yeah, you'd use other words.
So belief, when people say, I believe X, okay, then in their mind, there is at least some warrant or justification, but they may use the word, well, I know it because it has a greater degree of warrant or justification. So knowledge is, in fact, within the domain of the category of belief. Belief is a positive attitude toward a proposition, a positive attitude and acceptance that a proposition is the case. So knowledge is a subset of belief. The fact that you say, well, I don't know that God exists, okay, that doesn't mean that you don't believe that God doesn't exist or whatever. The bottom line, all you're just simply doing is you're focusing on only on one nuanced subcategory of belief. The point is this: agnosticism is equivalent to saying, I make no declaration about ultimate reality. Okay? So before we move on, I have to get you to agree to that. Agnosticism is the claim to say, I make no declaration as to what primary and ultimate reality is. Right?
As to whether it's God or not God.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, nor do I know.
You're not focusing. Agnosticism is the equivalent of stating, I make no declaration about that ultimate reality is either God or not God.
Yeah, sure. We can go with that.
Okay, now, so agnosticism is the claim of not making a statement about ultimate reality. Now, can we make statements? Can we make a statement about a state of affairs that is indirect rather than direct? Well, the answer is of course. So we can make a statement about ultimate reality either directly or indirectly. Do you grant that? Do you grant that?
Sorry, I said yes.
Okay. So the statement is, I make no declaration about ultimate reality. It turns out upon examination is a statement about ultimate reality. In other words, it's the equivalent of saying ultimate reality need not be stipulated in order to invoke one or more propositions that are actual or intelligible. Ultimate reality need not be stipulated in order to assert one or more propositions.
Correct.
Good. That's a statement about ultimate reality, sir.
It's my belief, sure.
You're not understanding, okay? If I say ultimate reality need not be invoked when invoking facts, is a statement about ultimate reality. In other words, ultimate reality is not necessitated to invoke facts. You understand that?
Sure. I'm saying I don't know whether
Good.
it is.
Now you're not. You got to focus. Okay. To claim I make no statement about ultimate reality is, in fact, an indirect statement about ultimate reality. In other words, ultimate reality need not be stipulated in order to invoke a fact.
I'm sorry. Could we change that to, instead of make no claim, make no, I don't know, action?
Are you? Listen to me. How many times have you heard me say focus?
We're having a discussion, Darth. So.
How many times have you heard me say to you focus?
Quite a few.
Okay. Why do you think I'm doing that? You think I'm just being a jerk?
No.
Okay. You need to focus on what I'm saying to you. To assert, listen carefully. If somebody asserts ultimate reality is not necessitated in order to invoke a fact.
I'm not asserting that.
Okay, you're not focusing. I didn't say that you were verbalizing that. I'm trying to get you to analyze the agnostic claim of its implications. Okay? The agnostic claim is, I make no statement about ultimate reality.
I make no claim about ultimate reality.
That's a distinction with no difference.
Okay.
Now, to assert that I make no statement about ultimate reality is the equivalent of saying ultimate reality is not necessitated to be stipulated in order to invoke a fact. Ultimate reality need not be stipulated in order to invoke a fact. Does that follow from the agnostic claim?
I would put it as ultimate reality doesn't need to be known.
That's not an answer to my question.
You're just finding something to argue about, dude.
Yeah, you are being evasive. Okay?
I'm trying to have a discussion. I'm not here to answer 20 questions.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, bye-bye. See you later, clown.
All right, bye.
You try to walk him through his own confusion, and he doesn't want to understand. So he pulls that card. And then people wonder, why I have a short fuse with these people, because they're dishonest and they're disingenuous.
I dare not entertain the legitimate Socratic method because it just might show me the incoherency of my worldview. I won't entertain the Socratic method at all. I'm just going to cop out, whine, and complain.
See, when I try to walk him through this, step by step, to show that the feigned pseudo-neutrality of agnosticism is in fact not neutral, right? When I try to show it to him, he doesn't want to hear it. So he purposely is not focusing on what I'm saying to him, and he gives me responses that are to something that is only semi-related. Because, you see, they desperately want an area where they can deny God, but they can't be held accountable for denying God. And that's what agnosticism is. Agnosticism is an implicit, indirect denial of God while claiming not to deny God. But officer, I didn't shoot him in the head. All right. Does anybody have any responses? Good, bad, ugly, agreement, disagreement, before we go back to that numbnuts J.L. Warren, who has a PhD from Dunning-Kruger University?
I'll just have
something.
A few quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So, why is agnosticism not like the basal thing or the basal claim?
Because it's a fake basal claim. It's about as fake as a transvestite being a woman.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Do you differentiate between transvestites and transgender people?
No, they're all transvestites to me.
Okay. I'm trans, but okay.
Yeah, so you are self-delusional about what you were born. That's all. And I'm not going. Hold on a second. I'll let you speak. I will let you speak uninterrupted. Okay. I am not going to capitulate to your delusional imagination, nor do I believe that society should buckle under to what your imagination is, in spite of the fact that Hollywood, academia, and even a political party in the United States is capitulating to people's fantasies. Go ahead, Libby.
Your atheist worldview doesn't have any grounding for your fantasy anyway.
Let Libby go. Go ahead. I said he would get uninterrupted time.
So yeah, like, am I biologically a male? Yes. Do I think that I can have to conform to society's expectations of that? No. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And when we translate that through the disgratification machine, what comes out is I want to fantasize that I'm something that I'm not.
It's all about the mind, though. It's not about like us denying something that we're us denying.
I'm
not denying. I'm not denying the facts of the facts of my biology. That's obvious. Most trans people agree with that statement.
Okay. Well, here's the bottom.
But what I'm saying,
to sit there and say that gender.
You told me I could talk uninterrupted.
Okay. Yeah,
so
yes, I did. Yes, I did. Go ahead. My bad.
So what I'm saying is that I'm trying to keep my voice low because I just got vaccinated. But regardless, so just because I'm biologically male doesn't mean I have to present as a man, right? Would you at least agree with that?
No.
Why?
It's because in the beginning God made them male and female. Okay.
Sure. I'm not denying that.
God commands men not to be effeminate.
Then there is no male or female state that is not centered around biology.
But I'm not talking about biology. I'm talking about gender. We're talking about gender. Do you conflate the two concepts?
No, I don't.
Look,
did everybody hear that? Did everybody hear that loaded
I asked
question? That was a loaded question, sir.
Okay, so
do you know what a loaded question is?
Yes.
Okay.
Unpack it.
Is because you want to believe that gender. Okay, that loaded question presupposes that gender is something that is ontologically different than sex.
In most people's minds, it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
No, you see, again, you're doing the same thing again. Now what you're just saying is, what you're saying now is for most people they have the delusion, not you.
No, what I'm saying, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Oh, so then they're right then?
No.
Then are they wrong?
In my opinion, yes.
Good. Then are they delusional about that?
No.
Oh, so their thinking in there corresponds to reality?
If they're saying that that gender is what is sex, yes.
Okay. Notice you said, "Are you conflating gender with sex?" Why don't you ask me? Why don't you say, "Have you stopped beating your wife?"
That's.
Why don't you give us?
You probably don't beat your wife, so I'm not going to ask you that.
No. In fact, and the funny thing is, I have been accused of that, which is entirely false.
That's awful. So
yeah, it is awful. But the point is, is this: is that the burden of you is you have the burden of proof here to show that gender is something that is ontologically different than biological sex. The burden is on you.
Men, I can take the clothes that are traditionally feminine and wear them. Boom.
All that establishes is the practice of transvestism.
All that says is that you wear clothes. That doesn't show how sex and gender are indistinct.
Gender. You want to say that gender has nothing to do with biology.
All you've shown is that you can put some clothes on. That's all you've shown. So what?
He said boom at the end of it, like he had just proved something. Boom.
I'm not. Well, okay, less so proved, more so substantiated.
Okay, you understand that in Western civilization, okay, there are certain institutions that are capitulating to radical minorities. Okay, would you agree with that?
It depends on what you mean by radical minorities.
Well, minority means that they are not in a majority or a plurality.
No, I understand that. I'm saying, who are you referring to?
I'm talking about the LGBT alphabet soup mafia.
The LGBT community?
These people are a minority in Western civilization.
Yeah.
Are they a radical departure from the past of looking how we talk and words that we use to refer to human nature? Is it a radical departure?
No.
What?
Trans people have existed. Trans people have existed for decades, thousands of years.
Notice, everybody, he didn't answer the question.
I said no. So I did answer it. I'm sorry if you don't like the answer.
Okay,
rapists have existed forever. Rapists have existed too forever. What's your point?
Rape is bad.
Listen, I could grant the no was a direct answer, but the commentary was not. Okay?
Fair. Okay, then I'll just say no.
Western civilization, and even beyond Western civilization, has always held that male and femaleness, in whatever context, is biologically grounded. Now, the notion that male and femaleness under the rubric of gender is conflated with sex is a radical departure in human history. The fact that there have been homosexuals, lesbians, transvestites in human history does not mitigate against that it is a radical departure from the way that human civilizations, and including Western civilizations, have viewed the category of what constitutes male and femaleness. So what I said,
culture has changed.
So
why is that bad?
It is okay. Well, then you're moving the goalposts. We'll get to that in a minute.
This is what I was asking earlier. I just phrased it wrong. I'm sorry.
Overtalk me, please. That's okay.
Okay,
right?
Go on.
So this is a radical departure from human civilization about the nature, what is to be understood about human nature.
The Western conception of it, yeah.
No. This has been going back in civilizations.
Well,
can you show me where any major recorded civilization, okay, had a notion of male and femaleness in human nature that was unrelated and disconnected and disassociated from biology?
I cannot, because
then what I said stands until you advance. Let me finish.
Then what I said initially was malphrased. Let me try and clarify what I was saying earlier.
Let me finish. I said
I'll clarify.
These dictionary definitions, okay, is because certain people who are behind the definitions are capitulating to the radical departure of a minority.
Okay, and what I should have asked instead of this long line of anyway.
Okay, up until
I'm asking is what's wrong with this changing culture?
Okay, well, we can get to that. We haven't gotten to that yet. Right?
Well, this is what I meant. This is what I meant with my initial question. So,
all right, I know, but you see, you were the one who asked the loaded question.
Okay, and I'm clarifying. This is what I mean with that, with the loaded terminology I used.
You know, when I told you I would give you uninterrupted time, and then you said that I was interrupting you, I shut up and I apologized. Okay, you keep on over talking me
because you're not like so. I've answered your question.
Would you not stop over talking me? I mean, would you please stop over talking me?
Sure. Okay, go on.
Okay.
Continue.
And by the way, we are completely disagreeing. That's obvious.
No, obvious, yes.
But and other than the fact that I don't like how you're over talking me, okay, and I'm over talking you a little bit as well. Okay,
Right.
Listen. Other than that, I don't have a problem with you. Other than I disagree with your ideology. Okay,
cool.
I don't mind you vigorously debating. Okay, I don't have a problem.
Never mind then. Okay, never mind then.
Okay, so when you ask me the loaded question, am I conflating gender with biological sex? Right. That was a loaded question. That was the equivalent of saying,
agree.
"Have you stopped?" Right. Good. So, do you retract that?
As I was just about to say that, I retract the initial question.
Okay.
And what I meant to ask is there anything inherently wrong with myself presenting as a woman, even though I'm a biological male?
Yes.
What's wrong with that?
You are catering to your, and I'm going to be specific here, but I'll be glad to unpack this as we go along. You are catering to your sinful disposition and your autonomous reasoning, contrary to God's purposes and his plan in human history.
Okay.
That's what's wrong with it.
Sorry, I'm vaccinated. People talking to me. You too. Bye. So I agree with your like, hold on. Trying to phrase this correctly, because I don't want to use loaded terms again, because that's
okay. But just pause. But I just want to let everybody know that in spite of the disagreement, I appreciate that he's not trolling. Isn't that great? We can finally have a vigorous debate in here on some of these subjects without trolling.
Yeah, and I'm glad that. Anyways, so what reason do you have to believe that what was written in the Bible, what like God's word says that, men can't be women and women can't be men? What reason do you have to believe that?
What reason do I have to believe that? Well, I believe that in virtue of the fact that God has taken the initiative to reveal himself both in natural and special revelation. The Bible constitutes special revelation, that the truths therein indicate what is necessary for the metaphysical foundational preconditions of human intelligibility. That would have to be that there's something absolute, ultimate, meaning is the source of all possibility and impossibility. And I said absolute, which means immutable, and that it would have to be a mind and then institute this world that is instituting and securing regularities so that we could have intelligibility about any propositional truths. Because without that fundamental foundation, the character and property set that I have just given you briefly, and I can expand on that later, that the property and character set of God, including his creator and being sovereign over it, and it is according to his plan. Apart from that, you won't be able to defend the intelligibility of any statement about anything at all, because you won't have any metaphysical background information to support it. And so the Bible reveals that, and the property set of the Christian God is unique among all the world religions. The God of the Bible is the only one that has the property set that can ultimately guarantee and secure human intelligibility. If the God of the Bible is rejected, his identity claims through the scriptures are rejected, saying, nope, that the Bible is not what it claims to be, the Word of God.
And non-acceptance is a rejection.
Yeah, the non-acceptance is a de facto implicit denial. What this will result then? Okay. Oh, good. Fun. Great. And
that's why I say I'm an agnostic. That's why I say I'm an agnostic atheist, not just an agnostic, because I recognize that you have to make a claim as to whether or not you agree God does or does not exist in order to be an agnostic about that statement. Yeah.
Okay, so we need
from
to
an ontological basis. Yeah.
Okay, so we need to do away with this silly agnostic atheist labeling. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why. Right? Okay.
I'd rather.
Yeah, we deal with this all the time, man.
But we've pivoted away from what we were talking about. And what I was going to ask was
well, you asked me about the Bible, but now you're telling us,
and then my next,
you don't accept that.
Sure, and my follow-up question was going, is this? Now I have to try and remember what it was.
Listen. Take your time. I'll say it again. I don't agree with you at all, but I greatly appreciate the fact that unlike the vast majority of unbelievers and atheists that we deal with, you're actually dealing with the situation like an adult.
Yeah.
So take your time. Yeah.
So,
I mean, other people in the room, isn't this refreshing that we can have a vigorous debate with somebody who doesn't act like an idiot?
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, I'm not brown nosing here. I'm not brown nosing. I'm trying to let you know that I appreciate somebody acting like an adult and vigorously disagreeing and debating. We rarely see this type of mature debating.
All right. So going along with what you said earlier about like it's you take this belief that trans people aren't who they say they are because of something written in the Bible.
Yeah, and that's because I hold.
What reason? Wait, hold on. I wasn't finished. What reason do you have to believe that what's written in the Bible is true? Do you go back to? Do you do it because, or sorry, do you believe it because God says it is what it is, or because God says that it's good to not be trans?
Well, I accept the Bible as the Word of God as a package deal, the sum total of its propositions. Okay, I don't believe the Bible, in a block by block method. Okay.
Okay.
I believe it because of all of its propositional content is interrelated to each other, and it forms a complete system, a worldview, and that the world. I'm trying to finish this. Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Go on.
So that the sophisticated worldview that it presents, in spite of the fact that atheists think that the Bible is just written by Bronze Age gold herders, is actually a very sophisticated worldview. And what it presents is that in order for there to be actuality, ontologically speaking, and intelligibility for that ontology, right? And the intelligibility derives from how we know things. It's going to require that there be an ultimate and fundamental reference point. And that reference point is God. God, in philosophical terms, will be the ultimate reference point for the actuality and intelligibility of any facts that are not God. And God can be characterized from a philosophical standpoint. By the way, I'm not talking about a generic God. I'm talking about the God of the Bible. But I'm not just going to keep on going, the God of the Bible, God of the Bible. I may say that from time to time. I may just simplify saying God. But God is defined, first of all, we have to be on the same page as what is God that we're talking about. Because people have different conceptualizations, not only of God, but they even have, without realizing it, different conceptualizations of the Christian God. So I have a certain conceptualization of the Christian God, but an unbeliever has a different conceptualization, even though they may not believe that the God exists. So in the Christian worldview, in order to understand what you believe in contrast to what you don't believe, right, is that the Christian God is the ultimate and absolute reference point for everything. Okay, definitionally. which you do not accept as actual, which we will get to momentarily. But I'm trying to explain to you why I believe this, okay? So, God has revealed himself through creation and through revelation with various individuals, whereupon it has been recorded and secured providentially through God's sovereignty and plan of human history, and God has revealed who and what he is, his basic character set, and his plan. When we take a look at the internal propositional content there, it shows that God is the ultimate reference point, not just because he's God, but because he has a specific character set without which, okay, if you remove God and his character set, there wouldn't be any metaphysical reference point to even intelligibly ground and predicate that the dog is wagging its tail. Now, I know that's hard to believe, but I will be more than happy to unpack that to you. So in other words, to sum it all up, and I forgive me for being long-winded, that the God of the Bible is the necessary precondition and is indispensable as the ultimate reference point so that we can talk about our world ontologically, and that that ontology of facts can have any intelligibility at all. In other words, the God of the Bible has to actually exist. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to believe that, but it must ontologically exist, without which there couldn't be any intelligent or intelligible discussion of what is, what can be, and what cannot be.
Okay, so for sake of argument, I will take that definition of God and run with it. But returning to my question, is transvestism wrong because God says it's wrong, or because it does not comport to his character?
Both. Okay. First and foremost, God has an eternal nature, which is the ultimate reference point for everything, and his creation reflects his eternal character and purposes. God then, in creating, has revealed certain things to us indirectly and directly, and we have an obligation to acknowledge that which is ultimate, God. Otherwise, we will be insanely acknowledging our own autonomy, which would be insane. And if we acknowledge our own autonomy as opposed to God's mind is autonomous, then when we embrace autonomous reasoning, it will therefore result in various insane lines of reasoning.
So, hold on, I'm trying to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So, is it okay if I try and restate what you said?
Take your time. I have about another at least an hour, so take your time.
So yes, it's cool if I try and restate what you said to make sure I'm understanding you correctly?
Absolutely. And if I say anything that you don't understand, just stop me and I'll try to explain it as clear as possible.
When in the past, whenever I've tried to do that, you've told me not to overtalk you, so I don't know that I can actually do that.
That's because I thought you were being argumentative. If you want clarification, then do it.
Okay, cool. So, there's a lot of terms in that last statement you like the diatribe you just went on.
Try. That was very kind of you.
Why do some people say bullshit instead of diatribe?
Well, diatribe is pejorative, but go ahead. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's fair game in this conversation. So go ahead.
Cool. So, let me think here. So transvestism is bad because it doesn't because it both doesn't comport with God's true, or not true character, but character, and because it's written in the Bible, because of the special revelation, and the other two.
Transvestism is bad because it's inconsistent with God's character and His purposes.
How?
What?
No, I'm. In what way is it inconsistent? Like, why can't God be accepting of people who are gay or transvestites?
Well,
I don't understand.
First of all, it's God's purposes that there be romantic relationships, which would also include physical relations, are for between one man and one woman, and it is to be intended to be. God's purposes is that they to be lifelong as well. So that includes monogamy as well. Okay, so homosexuality, along with other sexual practices, would be inconsistent with God's purposes and design for human activity through the course of His redemptive history. So we will either decide what's up, down, good or bad, right or wrong, either in submission to the autonomous mind of God, and if not, we will be directly or indirectly claiming our own autonomous reasoning, which will have catastrophic metaphysical consequences. You still there? Hello? Mic check?
I can hear you, man.
Okay. He's not responding.
He must have lost connection.
No. Maybe he tripped on his high heels.
Connection and what next to say?
Well, while we're waiting for this gentleman, anyone's free to jump on the mic and comment. Good, bad, or ugly. Go ahead. Nobody has any comment whatsoever? That's amazing. We have 34 people in the room.
Evolution. Well, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just when he talks about his transvestite, or he calls it his transgender associations. I'm just waiting for him to offer a grounding for why he thinks that he can even talk about or invoke such things, or because he already acknowledged that he is a biological male, so he's admitting that he's going against his biology, but it's even worse than him going against his biology. He doesn't even have a grounding for it.
Right. Real quick, Supreme Leader or One Way, can you guys come to your microphones, please? One Way, Supreme Leader, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, is this being streamed to one of our channels?
Yes.
Okay, good. So if this shows up on Tom's Rabbit's channel, we can hit him with a copyright violation, right?
I don't know, because this is like a public forum.
No, you're not understanding. This is this is like doing a podcast, okay? And we're streaming it to these channels, okay? So you think if somebody does a podcast and they originate the material and then somebody else records the podcast, that they can do whatever they want with it?
Well, I don't know. We can try. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm
All
just
right.
not sure if YouTube would enforce it. You know.
First, then we can claim copyright.
Yeah. Well.
Why don't he just try to take a little bit here and alter it and call it fair use?
No, you can't take a huge chunk and then put a little gloss at the beginning and end and call that fair use.
You have to comment like every I forget how many seconds, but it's like
Yeah,
15
that's not
seconds or
yeah.
something. You have to
See,
make
this
alterations.
is yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
Oh yeah, so if you have to have regular commentary, that makes sense.
Why is it that the atheists always use the transgender argument to prove the idea that God doesn't exist? I never understood that.
Well, he hasn't even begun. I'm a little disappointed that he's dropped out, but I'm sure he'll be back.
No, but I'm been hearing that a lot, at least on this server, where people, the first argument they make is, well, does he have anything against homosexuality or transgenderism? It's as if that's like the only uh, argument like they have, because that's the first one they always use. You notice
Isn't
that?
you use always the same though? Do you have anything foundational and that all facts derive from? Like, come on, bro.
So we can just ignore that. So, Joseph, I think it goes more to trying to emotionalize a topic or a conversation. I find with the abortion conversation, they want to go to rape or incest immediately. When they don't object to any other form of abortion, what they want to do is say, "See, look, he's wicked, and he wants to force pregnancy on people." They just try to emotionalize it, and so I think they do the same thing
100%, 100%.
talking the sexuality thing.
I don't think he was
The
using
problem
it as an argument, though.
the problem we believers are facing in the world and in Western civilization is that we have numerous institutions that had a nominal God outlook in the past, but since the advent of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution and it metastasizing geographically and mentally in all areas, now up is down, black is white, and because of the autonomous nature of man, rather than acknowledging the autonomy of God's mind, that man decides what things are. And so now we're having, notice how he said that I was conflating gender with biological. And one of the reasons why they're doing that is because we have a number of institutions that only a few decades ago would never have capitulated this, but one by one they're capitulating. That is, Hollywood, the entertainment industry,
100%.
the music industry, the music industry, academia. Okay, does that mean all academics support this? No, but because most academic institutions, at least in the United States, are largely controlled by leftists and liberals, they're capitulating, and we have a major political party that is capitulating to this. So now the tables are being turned, if you will, put that in quotation marks, against a formally held biblical model of human nature. Okay. And so we're gonna see an increasing persecution insofar as the atheistic mindset of unbelievers, even if they don't outrightly deny God, where in legislation, in education, even in the business world, they're going to start persecuting to the extent that they can get away with it people who disagree with their radical departure of what used to be standard in civilization throughout the world. And you'll notice how he tried to claim that there's always been people who have tried to dress like women. That's not in dispute.
Exactly.
What
the gender sex perversion, as far as the definitions
what
go,
we're talking about is that male and femaleness was always, as far as I'm familiar with, and I'm willing to be corrected. If someone wants to correct me and bring information, fine. But I mean, even within the Roman Empire, where there was a great deal of homosexuality, okay, that the concept of male and femaleness was strictly considered biological, right?
Well, what he's trying to say is he's trying to soft pedal what transgenderism is. And he's saying, well, it's only a style choice. I'm just cross-dressing. That's all it means.
Very good
It's
point.
just a style. It's not
Yeah.
that we
So
actually think we can become males or females.
so you have to understand now. What we need to understand here is clearly what is going on beyond all of the verbal kerfluffle, if you will. Right. What's going on here is a radical departure. Although civilizations in the past may not have honored God or acknowledged God, they still held to a biblical notion of basic male and femaleness. But this has radically changed in the latter part of the 20th century and now into the 21st century. Did you say something, Nables?
I did.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said, what about intersex people? The people who don't fit in either category?
Okay, yeah, that's just a propaganda term by the LGBT mafia. Okay, are you a teenager?
Does it matter?
Yeah, it does.
I'm actually
You know
not.
why? Okay, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay, so you're just out of your teens. You know why it matters?
Why does it matter?
It's because I've had 3 times life experiences of you, and I've seen the
Yeah.
radical. Don't overtalk me.
Oh,
Overtalk me again. Overtalk me again. I'm going to kick you out of the
Do it,
server.
bitch.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
So you're
all right,
fake.
all
Okay.
right.
See you later. Hey, don't let the band hit you on the way out, sunshine.
I won't.
Okay.
Sweaty transgender white knights.
They're
As if
good men.
as if you didn't need an example to prove your point.
Look, I was willing to hear him out, right? But you know what? He just wanted to cut me off in midstream.
I mean, even from the start, I mean, saying that you're, what was the word, dietriding, or I mean, just started like with the whole, just like with already like a sucker punch. It's not like no sign of really wanting to know the truth or anything. It's just, well, nothing. And then when you just asked him one question after he asked you, silence. That says
I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to show you guys a video, okay? Before I post it, this video is going to be a metaphor to how we're going to conduct debates in here, right? And I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but we're going to have law and order in here, right? And people are not going to troll in here. And this video that you're about to see, it's rather gruesome. It's unpleasant, but I think it suffices. And before anybody says anything, the perpetrator in here is he's an African American. This has nothing to do with showing the video. What it has to do is when somebody pulls a knife on a police officer and he's told to drop the knife, okay, repeatedly, right? And the police officer is only going to give him a certain amount of notification, and at a certain point, it's lights out. Okay, sorry, Charlie, over and out. Okay, so here's the video. And so this video is going to be a metaphor. From now on, people want to come in here. You want to debate, fine. But if you're going to pull a knife, okay, in a gunfight, right? If you want to troll in a vigorous debate, then it's going to be lights out for you. Here's the video. Watch this guy pull a knife on the cop. So you know what? I'll just stream it, okay?
Hey, buddy, come here for me real quick. Come here. Come here. Come here, you are you? You're jaywalking now. Who are you? Get over here. What country is this? Someone, I need cover. Come here. No. Come here. No.
Now, the knife here that he pulls is a metaphor for people trolling on this server, okay?
We're not playing this game, dude.
Why am I playing this game either?
You're jaywalking, you're throwing rocks.
And who are you?
Officer Hall at the Danville Police.
From where?
Come over here.
Authority of what? No, don't fucking touch me.
Dude,
touch me and see what's up. Touch me and see what's up.
Drop the knife.
No.
Drop the knife.
Kill me.
Drop the knife. Someone, shots fired.
Okay? People are going to get warned. Stop trolling. Stop trolling. Okay? You keep on trolling, you're going to be done. You're going to be room temperature.
Is the guy dead?
He's dead.
Well, that's ridiculous, though.
Why was it ridiculous?
We just lost. He just died because he held a knife.
What?
Could have tased him.
You're an idiot.
But could he not have tased him though?
No, you're not understanding. First of all, he was in close proximity. Okay, there's a protocol about how and when tasers. Now, are you aware that tasers are not always effective?
Well, it depends on the intensity.
Okay, and listen to me. Don't give me these stupid answers.
You can't set the intensity.
Are you aware that tasers, when somebody is even wearing light clothing, do not always stick into people? Did you know that?
Do you know how tasers work?
Yeah, it depends on what taser you're using, dude.
Oh, okay, listen, idiot.
Do you know how tasers work?
Do you know how a taser gun works?
Yeah.
How does a taser gun work?
Well, some tasers will shoot out something that sticks onto your skin. It pierces your skin, and it has a wire connecting to that thing that pierces your skin.
That's correct.
Except there's two of them. There has to be two of them shot out.
Right. And then
okay, now they have to penetrate. Listen to me. They have to penetrate your skin and retain to a certain degree. Okay?
Okay.
Now, when tasers are fired on people, even when they're wearing light clothing like a t-shirt, tasers are not always effective. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, now look at the image. What is he wearing?
A hoodie.
Look at what's underneath the hoodie.
Let's see. Are you screen sharing? Or you posted the image?
Let me do it again. Hold on. Okay, you see that? He has a jacket over on top of the hoodie, and there's probably another shirt in there. Now,
wow,
the likelihood of those darts penetrating those clothes and sticking, highly unlikely.
And they have to stay in too. The second they fall out,
and they have to stay in. Now, how many of these police cams have you watched where they use tasers and they don't work? I watch the police cam videos on a daily basis. I subscribe to a number of the police videos. Do you know how many times tasers fail?
Yeah,
do you know that when people are spaced out on drugs, even when the darts, if you will, penetrate and they work, that the electrical shock, sometimes these people are semi-oblivious to the shock and they're still in their crazed state? Now, he was within a few feet of the police officer. He pulled out a knife. Is a knife a deadly weapon?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, now, I have watched enough police videos where I have seen somebody run at a cop, right? And the cop doesn't have time to stop them. I watched a video the other day. A guy was at the bottom of basement stairs, Okay, he ran into a house or an apartment. I think it was a house, and he ran down the stairs. There were several police officers in the house. The guy ran up the stairs with a pipe. He got shot by the police officer at the top of the stairs, but the guy kept on coming. I think he was shot multiple times. And he still kept on and hit the cop on the head and knocked him out unconscious. Okay? So you're living in la la land when it comes to stopping people. Now, I completely agree with you that there's a protocol and we should be using what is called less than lethal means under certain circumstances. And under certain circumstances, and by the way, many police departments have very carefully worked out protocols that if you shoot somebody when you could have used a taser, when it wasn't a life-threatening situation, you could be prosecuted for misusing lethal force. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this officer got charged with manslaughter by the DA.
I mean, can I ask a question, though?
Well, hold on a second. Where does it say that?
Okay.
Look it up. Got charged 2 days ago. Pretty crazy.
The police officer got charged with manslaughter for this.
By the district attorney's office, yeah.
That is insane.
To be fair, he could have shot him on the legs or something, you know?
That's exactly what
you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
I was going to
know
ask
how
you
many
that.
times
Though.
people
You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You have a child's understanding of lethal threats. Okay. First of all, have you seen? Okay. Sometimes when people get shot, they don't stop. This is why they're trained to shoot multiple times. That if lethal force goes under the protocol guidelines. Okay, this is not television. This is not the movies. He could have shot him in the leg. He was within a couple of feet of this guy. The guy could have hit him in the neck with the knife, and he could have died. Okay.
But also,
Yeah.
people who say that you
hold
should have shot him
on.
in the
Can
leg, they
you
don't
provide
understand
me?
how
Whoever said he was charged with manslaughter, provide me with a link where this cop was charged with manslaughter.
Sure.
By the way, he also said he was going to kill the cop. Did you notice that?
I'm not. Did he? I know he said kill me. I heard him say kill me.
All right.
You, Officer Hall, the Danville
Yeah,
Police.
from where?
Come over here.
What? Authority of
Come
what?
on
No,
over here.
don't fucking touch me.
Dude, come
touch
on.
me and see what's up. Touch me and see what's up.
Drop the knife.
Nope.
Drop the knife.
Kill me.
Drop the knife.
Okay.
Someone shots fired.
He said he was going to F him up with the knife. Okay?
What text chat do you want to post that in?
Atheist Helpline.
I think you have the wrong one. It says an unarmed man here.
That's 2018, sir.
I think you got the wrong one there, Sugar.
Yeah, wrong video, dude.
It says DA charges Danville officer in deadly 2018 shooting of an unarmed man. So that wouldn't be this case.
This case just happened, sir. March 11th, 2021.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why do you think I asked you for a link? Now, it's not out of the realm of contemplation, given the fact that police officers are doing their job and then they're accused of harming. Anyway, the point is simply this.
I just posted the link.
The point I'm trying to make is this: you troll me a couple of times, boom, you're gonna be gone. There was another video where the police officer showed up with a report with a man holding people hostage, and he had a gun. The cops walked up the sidewalk to the front steps. The guy came to the front door with the gun pointed vertically toward the ceiling, toward the sky.
Oh, I'm sorry, Darth. The confusion was the DA charged him with another shooting he did 2 years ago. The same officer. Sorry about that. I guess this officer killed someone 2 years ago. The district attorney filed charges.
Okay, so just now he filed charges?
Yeah, isn't that funny? Weird.
That is weird. Well, I don't know anything about that case, so I can't comment. All I know is I'm glad that we got rid of another person who wants to be spaced out on drugs and threaten people. Anyway, the point of it is it's a metaphor for people wanting to troll in here.
He was throwing rocks at cars, which was very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Somebody could have crashed into somebody else. Okay, so people go, "Hey, Darth kicks me because they disagree." No, if you repeatedly troll me, you're gone. Look at that guy who was in here, that transvestite. He was vigorously arguing against my position. We were going back and forth. He didn't get muted. He didn't get kicked because he wasn't trolling. Anyway. Okay. Do we want to continue the conversation on that tranny, or do we want to go back to J.L. Warren, PhD graduate, tap a keg of beer from Dunning-Kruger University? Let's go back to the Dunning-Kruger PhD candidate. That's not it. I gotta find the video. What did I do with it? That's what happens when you have so many tabs open in videos. Here we go. Okay. Okay, here we go.
All right, your redirect starts now.
Yeah, infinite is too vague in this debate. You need to elaborate on that. However, you're alluding to unlimited. Unlimited and infinite are two different concepts. But in context to the question I asked you, you invoked that all energy is eternal. So then my follow-up, I need to ask a follow-up question to that. Do you believe that it was everywhere, or was it finite in size?
Well, all of the energy in the universe, as we understand it.
By the way, is the sound coming through for you guys?
Yeah, we can hear.
Walking the universe backwards in time, going back to the Planck event, is that all of the energy in the universe was at one time in a singular point. Now, with it, that was all the energy.
How does he know that? How did he determine that? Anyone? Parakeet, where did he get this from? Did he pull it out of his keister? I mean, where did he get that from? Right? Notice how they say, well, you can't demonstrate your God. How does he demonstrate that everything that exists was originally in one dense starting point? Where'd you get that from?
Within the isolated system that we call the universe. So the universe being an isolated system, meaning that everything that exists is within the universe, it was just condensed to that point. Now, we can't say that there was anything outside of that. It was simply.
Notice he says we? We? Who's we? Guys, remember Dirty Harry, where the guy says, who's we?
The universe. So the universe is an isolated system, all was contained within it. All the energy was condensed at one point, and then some state of energy or something, or some natural process we can't detect or observe, then triggered or pushed or moved.
Now, do you see how he's taking his imagination into the distant past? And he's posing it as dogma? Where is he getting this from?
Moved or maybe something quantum, I don't know, but then pushed. I mean, there's hundreds of hypotheses. Pushed the expansion, then we are currently within the expansion of the universe. So the energy itself, at one time, it's the state of the universe. It's always been the isolated system. If you want to refer to the isolated system as effectively infinite, you can.
Well, wait a minute. Do you notice he said, if you like, you can refer to it as infinite? Didn't he earlier say that it was infinite? Remember when he asserted that energy is infinite? But now he's saying, if you like, you can call it infinite?
There is a temporal distance across it, but the energy itself is what is eternal, because that is what is.
Well, wait a minute. He just said he doesn't want to use eternal because it refers to magic. So now he's saying that the energy is eternal. Now, how could he possibly know that? By what means could he know that? On what grounds does he believe that? Anybody care to comment? Bueller? We got 30 people in here. There's got to be somebody who wants to make a comment.
I think it takes it as a consequence of the first law of thermodynamics.
No, that does not follow. That's a non sequitur. The first law of thermodynamics it's a non sequitur to say that. Okay, to say that matter and energy can neither be created or destroyed is simply an inductive conclusion, saying that matter and energy, as far as we know, we cannot create or destroy, nor do we know of any natural process. It doesn't follow from that the eternality of matter and energy.
Right. What I mean is, if it's true that matter or energy cannot be created or destroyed, then it follows that it is eternal, right? Would you agree?
No, that's a non sequitur. It doesn't follow.
Okay,
imagine, all right, listen to me. Imagine a modern M1A1 tank in the rainforest, if you will, the jungle of Brazil, encroaching upon a village of bow and arrow shooters. And everything they throw at it does nothing to it. They can't destroy it. They can't discombobulate it. So they come up with the law of the tank. The law of the tank cannot be destroyed. Right? Every attempt that they have to try to create the tank or destroy the tank, they can't do it. So does it follow that the tank wasn't created or couldn't be destroyed?
No, it doesn't follow.
But this gentleman, Darth, maybe you didn't hear this guy's question. He said, if we grant that it's true that matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed, then it would follow that it's eternal. That's what he was trying to ask.
My point.
If it's true.
Well, when you say it can't be created or destroyed, that has to be, it has have a time index reference. You talking about right now, or are you talking about that it is eternally true?
Sure, eternally true.
Where did they get that from? See, that would be a metaphysical first law of thermodynamics, not merely a temporal statement saying, as far as we know, matter and energy it doesn't come into existence within the sphere of our experience, but it doesn't follow from that the eternality of matter and energy.
Yeah, I agree that you would need like a metaphysical first law of thermodynamics.
He has done.
Yeah,
now, notice all he's simply doing is in his argument against God, he's trying to espouse a kind of materialism and naturalism and justify that, whereby naturalism makes God unnecessary. He simply ignorantly, and I don't mean that as an insult, without a knowledge basis, to posit the most popular cosmological model of the universe. Simply citing a popular model of cosmology doesn't get you to the non-existence of God. Because, for example, although Big Bang cosmology, is the fertile soil out of which the flower of God denialism grows, even Big Bang cosmology doesn't get you to atheism. Neither does evolution. But evolution is the fertile soil out of which, again, the flower of atheism flourishes. But neither evolution nor Big Bang cosmology actually get you to there's no God.
I agree that it doesn't get you like deductively, but my point is like, if it's true that all of our best scientific understanding points towards the first law of thermodynamics being true, then that's at least some reason to believe that it might be metaphysical.
A fallacy of reasoning does not point to anything. Extrapolating that it can't, that beyond inductively extrapolating it doesn't point to anything.
Yeah, you have to remember what's being discussed here is atheism versus theism. Were you aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay, and so this is J.L. Warren, PhD, graduate of Dunning-Kruger University, right? So simply appealing to the standard model of cosmology doesn't get you to the eternality of energy. He's just wasting time on the microphone. And unfortunately, his interlocutor he's not arguing biblically. Okay? He is trying to argue for theism. He may be a Christian, but he's not actually arguing biblically, because if he was, he would destroy J.L. Warren, PhD from Dunning-Kruger University.
Okay, so I agree that it doesn't get you there, but do you not at least believe that it gives you at least some reason towards that position? Like maybe not 100%.
No, because when one starts and denies that the world around us, creation, is not revelatory of God, that God purposely created the world to reveal himself, and including the course of human history, they reject that God has revealed himself through special revelation, and that it was recorded and sovereignly and providentially preserved. When you reject that, there will be no ultimate reference point to assert propositions.
What if someone has an ultimate reference point that is not God?
They couldn't.
Why not?
Go ahead. Try it.
So maybe something that's
If
similar
it's
to
not
God,
God,
but not mental,
no. Well, okay. All right. That's a good question. Okay. If their ultimate reference point, the ontological reference point, is not God, okay, the only reason why we can acknowledge and posit God is because God designed this world that we are ensconced in to be revelatory of him. Only way to posit God is by him to reveal it. Now, we need to keep in mind, what is it that God is? God is that which is absolute, meaning immutable, eternal, and is a mind. Now, and is, of course, ultimate, the source of all temporal states. Now, if you do not accept that, then how are you going to identify and demonstrate what is fundamental and absolute and ultimate then? How would you do that?
Okay, yeah. I don't see why you need the mind property though. So what couldn't somebody believe
wait a
that
minute. Did I ask you a question? You
I
said,
think so, yeah.
what if somebody posits another ultimate or absolute?
Yeah.
How could you do that?
Well, you could do it, just it'd be baseless. It would just be just an
No.
assertion.
When I say, you're right. Well, when I say posit, I just don't mean say it. I mean you have to instantiate it. How could you instantiate what is absolute, ultimate, if it is not a mind and it reveals itself? How could you instantiate that? The answer is you couldn't.
Okay, could something that's not a mind reveal itself? Why?
No.
I think you're just why not?
Because
No,
revelation is
because
a type of communication.
yeah, revelation is communication, and when you, I think you're confusing revelation with somebody having consciousness and sensory experience, and then thereby interpreting certain sensory phenomenon around them. Okay, interpreting sensory phenomena around you is not in and of itself a revelation. It would have to originate with an eternal mind that constructs it in a way that it is revelatory. Now, if we don't accept God's disclosure of himself, his self-identity claims through natural and special revelation, then there will be no observable access, if you will, to identify, to attest, and to defend what it is that is fundamental, ultimate, and absolute.
Well, I still think someone could have an idea of what's fundamental that maybe does not reveal itself, but makes the
No,
world.
but you see, here's the problem. When they do that, they're already in the position that they're rejecting that God is what is absolute and ultimate, right?
Right.
Good. Then the grounds upon which they reject God, they're going to have to reject whatever ultimate they want to put in place of God. They would have to completely yes, absolutely. If God and not God are both within the category of what is absolute and ultimate, the ultimate reference point, okay? And somebody says, well, I don't have a reason to believe in God. Say, good, what's your reason to instantiate that which is absolute and ultimate that's not God? What would be their reason other than their imagination?
They could simply think that whatever's fundamental and absolute has a mechanism for making it so that they can know what's fundamental and absolute. That's not revelation. So I'm thinking of something similar to revelation, but that does not require personhood. Could interpret something like that?
Hold on, I got to switch my headset. Yeah, all you're simply doing is they're appealing to their imagination. That's it.
Yeah, conjectures and imaginations are not a reason to believe something.
Then if it is, then I can imagine anything.
Well, I wouldn't say they're just imagining. They're actually grasping something.
You're not understanding. You're not understanding. How are they able to know what this eternal absolute is? How are they able to know it?
I don't know, maybe intuition.
No, that wouldn't be knowing. That would be an appeal to mysticism.
Well, in order to assert that intuition even exists, you'd have to know what's eternal and absolute that institutes what's possible and impossible.
Intuition was still requires a frame of reference, but there is no frame of reference unless God exists and God creates this world to be revelatory of himself in natural and special revelation through the course of human history. then there will be no background information. When somebody rejects the way God creates it, right? When everyone looks around at the sun, the moon, and the stars, the clouds, the rabbits, everything around them, they're going to do one of two things. Either they're going to say that this world exists because it is instituted and secured by an eternal mind, or they will not believe that. And then you will consequently believe in the independence of all the stuff around you, no God needed, which is the atheism. But the point is, then there would be no ultimate reference point. So unless God takes the initiative to reveal himself in creation, then there cannot be any ultimate reference point to be instantiated, which means you have to defend it. Other than it's just wild-eyed, just make-believe and imagination. And tell me the difference between somebody's wild imagination and intuition. What's the difference?
Okay, here's the picture I have. Tell me if there's something wrong with it.
No, I want you to answer my question.
Okay, I will answer your question.
When I ask a question, if I ask a question, I want it answered.
Okay, what's
the difference between wild-eyed imagination, imagining a world without God, and you say intuition? What's the difference?
That intuition is actually grasping at something that's real, whereas imagination is just.
How would you know? How would you know it's real?
You know it's real because you know the foundation of the universe has made it.
Listen to me. You are just bullshitting.
No, I think this is a coherent.
Dude, are you high right now?
I am not high. I really do.
Okay, good. Picture. How do you know what is ultimate and eternal and absolute?
Intuition.
By what means?
I
don't know what that means. Explain that.
I mean, the intuition is a process by which you can grasp at truths, at metaphysical truths of reality.
How are you able to grasp what? How are you able to grasp what is absolute and ultimate and eternal?
Because what is absolute and ultimate and eternal has made it so that.
And how do you know? And how do you know that? How is it? How has it, in not being a non-mind and non-personal, how has it made itself known?
Because it has produced the world in such a way that it.
You're begging. No. Okay, you see, now you're being sleazy. Okay, do you think I'm stupid?
No, I genuinely think this.
What you're doing this is what you're doing. Okay, you're taking the metaphysic of the Christian worldview, right? And you're where God makes himself known, and you're just saying, well, this impersonal ultimate makes itself known. Where did you get that from?
Right. So what I'm doing, as you pointed out, is
Where did you get that from?
What do you mean? Wait, where did I get that from? From my intuition.
No, you see, dude. Either you're trolling or listen to me. You said intuition. How did your intuition get it?
How did my intuition get it? That's like a fundamental process. It doesn't. It just gets it from reality.
Dude, listen to me. Either you're trolling or you're totally out of it, okay? You're just saying gobbledygook. How are you able to identify what the properties and attributes are as to what the ultimate reference point? How do you do that? And if you say intuition, I'm going to kick you from the server.
Okay, so how do I do that other than intuition? I don't know, maybe reason?
No. I didn't say, you keep on saying intuition. But you haven't explained what that means. I want you to explain what the hell that means.
Is intuition a feeling?
I'd say it's more than just a feeling.
Okay, listen to me. Stop being vague, okay? I want to know specifically, how can somebody know what the properties and attributes are as to what is eternal or ultimate, if it indeed, listen carefully, if it indeed does exist? How would you know it? And don't repeat what you said before.
Well, I have no answer other than what I said before.
So then you don't have an answer at all, because what you said before is nothing but vagaries. By
Darth,
intuition. What does that even mean?
Let him tell us what intuition is. He says it's
I
not
disagree
just.
that it's a bakery,
He says it's
but-
more than just a feeling.
Okay,
What else is it?
dude, wow. Listen. You are really. I'm going to try to be nice here. You are being completely vague. Okay. Now, I want to know, how could somebody instantiate? You know what the English word instantiate means? It's not just assert. It means that you explain how it is the case. How is it the case that that there is something fundamental and absolute? And how would you know about it?
Well,
How did you?
necessary that there has to be
No.
something
Listen to me.
absolute, right?
Listen to me carefully. Okay, listen carefully.
Yeah.
Is there something absolute?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
I think it's because it's logically impossible for there not to be.
Okay, how is it logically impossible?
Because there is something. Therefore, there needs to be something
No,
absolute.
okay. No. You're completely begging the question there. You're completely begging the question.
Okay.
Okay.
How am I begging the question?
Absolute. Something is absolute, meaning it is unchanging, it is eternal, and therefore it would be the ground of all being. Okay.
Right.
How do you know that that is the case? And don't say it's logically impossible, because that's already your defense of that was entirely circular.
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure how do I know. My ideas are either intuition, reason, or something.
If you say intuition again, I'm kicking you from the server.
Okay, then I'll say I don't know. If it's not intuition, I don't know.
Intuition, that's white noise to me. It doesn't mean anything.
Then I don't know how I know it, but I do know.
Okay, intuition is it's a word that's meaningless in this conversation.
Okay, then I don't know how I know it.
That's just another way of you saying you don't know anyway.
Yeah,
no, I know that I know it. I don't know how I know it.
No. And how do you know it?
Well, I have direct access to the things I know.
Okay, listen to me. Do you have direct access that you know that there's something absolute?
Yeah.
How?
At least I believe I know.
No. I want to know what your reason for believing that something is absolute and ultimate.
Do you think if you deeply believe something that means you know it?
I want you to answer right now. What is your reason to believe that it is necessarily the case that something is absolute and ultimate, the ultimate reference point? What is your reason for believing that? And if you say intuition, I'm kicking you.
The intelligibility of facts, uniformity of nature, those kind of things seem to require.
No. Okay, is the uniformity of nature real?
Yes.
And are facts actually intelligible?
Hold on a second. Is the uniformity of nature real?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
Because otherwise I couldn't be having a thought. Like it would have been possible for me to even think with it.
No.
Maybe you're not having thoughts.
Well, hold on a second. Hey, listen. Thoughts could be spontaneous, sir.
Well, even if there were.
Stop right there. Listen to me. Listen to me. Stop bullshitting. Will you stop bullshitting? Okay.
I don't think I'm bullshitting.
You are bullshitting, because you see, could events be spontaneous?
As far as I can see, yes, maybe.
Okay, good. You just screwed yourself.
You haven't BSing though, dude.
You have just contradicted yourself, because you just said that your thoughts could not have been. Is a thought an event?
Yes.
Okay, you said you couldn't have a thought or that event without the uniformity of nature. But then I just asked you, I said, could your thought be entirely spontaneous? You said yes. If it's spontaneous, it means it simply happens without causal succession.
Okay, maybe a single thought, but not like.
Okay,
yeah,
listen to me. It doesn't matter. Could there be a succession of spontaneous thoughts?
Logically, yes. There could be.
Okay, good. Therefore, you're done. You screwed yourself. So how do you know that? Okay, so that line of reasoning, that because you have thought a single thought or succession of thoughts, that doesn't mean that there is a causal relation or connection between the thoughts. So how is it that the uniformity of nature is real?
Yeah, I guess I do need to presuppose some things, right?
Now,
Like
how is the
everything
uniform? Okay, listen to me. Do you know how many times I have asked you straightforward questions and you give me a response that is not to my question? How do you know the uniformity of nature is true as opposed to an illusion?
I presuppose it.
Okay, how do? Oh, okay, so you don't know it then. Is that correct?
Do you? I would say that
Do
some
you merely?
presuppositions count as
Do
knowledge.
you merely? Listen to me. Do you merely believe that the uniformity of nature is true without reason? Or do you have a reason that, in fact, the uniformity of nature is true?
I think I have reasons, yes.
What is your reason that the uniformity of nature is true?
My experience seems to indicate that.
No. You said it seems to be. I want to know why it's true. It seemed that 3,000 years ago, it seemed that the sun orbited the earth, didn't it?
Right.
Good. Was that wrong?
Yes, it was wrong.
I want to know why it's true that the uniformity of nature is real, other than you saying it seems to be that way. What is your reason that the uniformity of nature is true?
Because there's like a foundation that makes it so.
What the hell does that mean?
So can I explain my position? I think that would be
No, you're done. Goodbye. Get the hell out of here.
Okay.
Okay, you're full of crap. He's bent on bullshitting.
This is one BS response.
He's just making up crap as he goes along.
Yeah, he's not even trying to communicate with you. He's just saying
he was removed. Let me tell you something. He was removed not because he was disagreeing, but because he was clearly being disingenuous and deceitful. Does anybody in here doubt that he was not being? Does anybody doubt? How shall I put this?
Does anybody doubt that he's not being deceitful?
Yes. See, two things will get you removed from the room. Okay, trolling and being disingenuous and deceitful, which is what he was doing.
Yeah, he was just stringing together words. He wasn't saying anything substantive at any point. He was just uttering sounds out of his mouth. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
All right.
If it's grammar and syntax and you can put it together and it sounds good in his head, that's his answer. That's why he says all these vagaries and nonsensical things like intuition and these other unspecific appeals to generalities and stuff like this. Intuition. What the heck does that mean? Is your however you cash that out, is your intuition necessarily true?